clear on this. Las Vegas is like my second least favorite place to walk. And I love walking in Manhattan, but it's dangerous. So, the story. Why am I talking about this? Streets Blog USA last week, Kia Wilson wrote a story, the headline of which is, and I quote, "Study, car sticker price is a predictor of driver aggression towards walkers." Now, I would have said pedestrians, but okay, walkers, whatever.
I mean, it's a predictor of douchebaggery.
This is a University of Nevada researchers videotaped pedestrians in Las Vegas walking across intersections. And what they would do was tally up the results. Who stopped for pedestrians, who didn't stop, who stopped at the last minute, who didn't stop at all. And yeah, guess what? Rich people who drive expensive cars are way less polite than people who drive cheap cars. In fact, what was the, let's see, for every $1,000 on the sticker, the driver was 3% less likely to let pedestrians pass safely. So
if you drive a $250,000 car, you just run them over?
Apparently.
That was one of it was like people not stopping at all. There was actually, it went up to the scale went from stopping for pedestrians to not stopping at all. Yeah.
And I don't know that this is there's a lot of discussion in here. I mean, it's probably not going to surprise anyone watching or on the panel that people who spend a lot of money on their motor vehicle feel that they're entitled to some things, which this study bears out. And more importantly, I think what this does is dovetailing with some other recent studies going back even to 2013 that said that people in cars just really don't give a rat's ass about pedestrians, and they don't follow the law, and they run them down. Again, back to Manhattan, a city well known for not prosecuting drivers for running people over and oftentimes killing them. It's a weird thing that we have all kinds of laws about how you could possibly have hurt someone or killed them or contributed to their death or their injury. Yet if you're in a car and you run some sad bastard down in a crosswalk, the odds are good you're not going to really do a lot for it. Now, I know all of us probably know somebody that was prosecuted and in jail or whatever. I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying in general, we don't prosecute drivers. That's why we call them accidents. We frame the whole discussion around the idea that the driver of the motor vehicle is never at fault. And again, I think this just speaks to what a motor vehicle, what a car and truck society we are. That's all I got.
Obligatory, not all douchebags.
I'm sorry?
I said obligatory, not all douchebags. I stopped for pedestrians.
Not all, yeah, I guess, right? Like, yeah. Blue lives matter.
But I will say, I lived in Manhattan for 15 years, and the walk, don't walk lights are just a suggestion. I mean, if
that's part of the problem.
The rule in New York for pedestrians, especially the locals who live there, is if you can get across before the taxi cab comes barreling down and hits you, you go regardless of what the light says, because they don't care about what the light says either. And it's more the rule of Darwin is what rules in New York City.
Yeah.
And I think in Vegas, just because the streets tend to be even bigger and wider and move faster.
Well, they're full of podunk tourists that have never been out of their car.
The locals are insane, dude. The locals are insane. I've spent more than enough time. Like, you look at cars with Nevada plates. Next time, here's an exercise for everyone. Next time you're in Las Vegas, look at the cars with Nevada plates and tell me if a huge percentage of them don't have visible dents. Okay? You will find doing your own unscientific survey the next time you're in Las Vegas.
Well, they all have blacked out windows too, so you can't see the driver. You know, they can't see you.
Just like, yeah, I don't think most of them even bother to wipe the blood off. Like, whatever. It's the desert.
So I saw a video on mixed use intersections over in England, and it said that once they removed all the traffic control devices, that the interactions between pedestrians and cars went way down.
Mm-hmm.
Except for these one or two choice cases where they managed to get an injunction
Audi
on
driver
putting more. Oh no, it was like disabled folks. One of them had an issue, and they were able to put an injunction on putting more of these test sites out. And so we don't know really how effective it is, but from what they've seen so far, it other than those handful of cases, it reduced the interaction between people and cars because everybody doesn't know what to do. So there's like people out there and there's cars everywhere, and like everybody's just going slow.
Yeah, I want to say that we did talk about that, and I think Russell brought that up because Russell, you read Street's blog a lot, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was one of even the things we had talked about was one of the issues with the designs that we have here in the United States of the streets is cars, you stay in your lane, pedestrians, you stay in your lane, and so pedestrians, you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you stay on your sidewalk, and cars, you can do whatever you want as long as you stay in your lane, and you can drive as fast as you want because you're isolated from the traffic coming the other way and this. But then you get to intersections and situations where the pedestrians have to step into the roads, and then that to some of the vehicles, some of the drivers, it was like, well, now you're in my territory, you're on my street, and my gas tax paid for this street, and and I own a car, and you're a poor pedestrian, so you have less rights than I do.
But it gets back to like what Russell was saying was even the vernacular of it all, like the term jaywalker. Oh, you're a jay. Well, the history of that is incredible. And when you think about it, like all the streets in the world used to be mixed use, and then they weren't.
Right, because the intention of the design was if we separate the pedestrians and the bikes and the cars, then we won't have any problems because they're separated, and now everyone is safe. But it's a false sense of security. It's a false sense of safety. And I agree. If you one of the reasons, and I remember reading about roundabouts, and one of the reasons roundabouts are so safe. I mean, not only is there no left turn, you don't have people turning into oncoming traffic, but also the fact that people get confused out of their minds. And it's that confusion that forces them to slow down or come to a complete stop. And it's kind of hard to hit somebody when you're at a complete stop.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think I do believe that the study of street design and all of it is absolutely fascinating, and how the civil engineers sit down and plan all this out and have to take all this into consideration. And I do think our streets need to be reevaluated to try to make them safer for everybody.
Yeah, I've been noticing the I forget what they call it, but they reduced the number of points on the interchange between the local highway and the interstate. Basically by making everything left turns to the point where when you get off, you're actually on the opposite. You're traveling on the left side of the road instead of the right.
Yes, that's they just started doing
Diverging diamond.
Yes,
yes,
the
there it
diverging
is.
diamond. Yes, yes.
It actually worked pretty well. There's a couple around here.
Yeah.
And then in some cities, they're actually removing lanes of traffic to put in wider bike lanes or just islands with trees on them to slow everybody down. And they found that the throughput was higher and that the safety was way up, despite removing lanes, which is incredible.
Right. We could do a whole show just on street design, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like it, but I don't know. Might put some people to sleep.